family sister of David Caxton, who died through the benefit sanctions. He was sanctioned in 2013. He was a type 1 diabetic. He was sanctioned and he was found dead in his flat. He worked for 29 years of his life. He was a soldier in Northern Ireland in the 70s. And he was a carer for our mother for 8 years, and then he just hit hard times. He became vulnerable. So they sanctioned him, and within 3 days he was dead. And at the inquiry, everything was just about statistics and percentages, not about people. And this is about vulnerable people. And when I started this, all I want is lessons to be learned, no one else to die. I can't bring my brother back. He's gone. There's nothing I can do, I just want lessons to be learned. And they're not learning. They're still sanctioning us. We stand here today. People could be dying. That's why I'm doing it. My brother wasn't a stranger. I come from a very good working class family. My mother and father both worked. I work. My husband works. My brother worked. He just hit a time in his life where things went wrong, and that can happen to any of us. We live in a society where there are people that are born vulnerable and they will always need our support, and we should support them. And there are people in society that for some reason they become vulnerable. Something's happened, they might have been made redundant, death, a tragedy in the family, you don't know, or become ill. They've sanctioned people with cancer. On the website there's a case where a man who actually had a heart attack during an assessment, he never finished the assessment and he got sanctioned. It's become
Would anyone like to use the
ridiculous.
community megaphone?
And they just need to look at it. They are hitting the easy targets, the vulnerable. And it's the vulnerable that are dying.
Right, today Unite is calling for the end of benefit sanctions. Benefit sanctions mean if you're 5 minutes late to a job centre interview, you can use your benefits for a whole month. We believe they're cruel. They certainly don't help people that are looking to get back into work, and we're calling for their end today. They're affecting quite vulnerable people. 40% of people that are being sanctioned have mental health issues. And also today we're here with Jill, whose brother died because he was an ex-soldier, he had diabetes, he was sanctioned, he couldn't afford electricity, and his insulin went off in the fridge, and he died and he hadn't eaten for several days. Now this is tragic, and we are calling for an end for this this cruel way to treat people that are unemployed. People need decent jobs to go to. What the government needs to do is start creating decent jobs, and then people will walk into those jobs. And it's no good just blaming the unemployed for unemployment. Benefit sanctions are also affecting 100,000 children, and those children have done nothing wrong. I mean, their parents may have made small mistakes and slip-ups, but how can it be right that 100,000 children are going hungry or their homes have not been heated? And benefit sanctions is the biggest cause for the massive rise in food banks. I mean, millions of people are now using food banks, and this country is the 6th richest country in the world, and that is unacceptable.
IDS! Kick him out! IDS! Kick him out! IDS! Kick him out! IDS! Kick him out!
I mean, part of it is that people are really discouraged from claiming benefits. Personally, I have to claim housing benefits sometimes because I'm very low paid, and to go to the council offices and claim housing benefit, for instance, is just soul destroying and upsetting. And you have to sit with people crying, and in such distress, women with their children who are homeless, who've got nowhere to go, and I'm sure it's the same in all the other benefits offices. It is a horrible thing to go and claim benefits, and you always feel like you're to blame, and somehow you're a failure in life, and that's not true. We all need help sometimes, and so partly it's that really, for it to be more human, and just to acknowledge that everyone needs help. Well, there's such a thing, isn't there, about everyone on benefits is having a lovely time and going on big holidays and really enjoying themselves, and they just don't understand the reality you know, of people having to choose between food and travel and electricity and feeding their children or themselves. You know, that is the reality for the majority of people on benefits, and people not on benefits as well. You know, it's not even about just people on benefits. There are plenty of people working. I work and I have to choose between food and rent. We all live here, we all want to survive and thrive in our lives, and we all want to feel supported.
I'll tell you a true story from Cambridge. About a month ago, a little kid called Tommy, he's suffering from leukemia, got his benefits sanctions, right? So this young kid's fighting cancer, they cut his benefits. I could not believe it, I was spitting teeth, right? And so we all went down the DWP office in Cambridge, had a protest, and we actually got him his benefits back, a letter of apology, and backdated, okay? So we can do this, but these sanctions is just atrocious, it's inhumane, absolutely inhumane what is going on, and it's being orchestrated in this building here, okay? Civil servants are directly employed by Satan himself. Ian Duncan Smith is the devil, and we must stop him. I remember a time when you could lose your job and not get chased around the capital trying to be forced to apply for millions of jobs which don't exist. There should not be this like element of aggression, there should not be this element of just downright nastiness. We should actually have a bit of compassion for people who've fallen on bad times. You can judge a society by how it treats its poorest and most vulnerable people, and what's happening here is attacking the most vulnerable, while the rich, the bankers, the fat cats, the billionaires are getting away scot-free, and they're the ones who crashed our economy, they're the ones who are ruining our society, and they're the ones we should be taking to task.
The government have been creating this climate where they're dividing workers from the unemployed. It's called the sort of scroungers versus the strivers, and it's very divisive. So I think a lot of people just aren't aware of how difficult it is for people that are claiming benefits, people that, you know, want to get jobs or who are disabled and can't get jobs. They're just being treated as scroungers, and what the government are doing is they're scapegoating these people in the way that they're scapegoating immigrants, and it's just creating a horrible climate within our country, and we want this to stop.
IDS out! IDS out! IDS out! IDS out! IDS out!